Happy Friday, homeschool mamas. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I can see that the weather outside is the perfect, beautiful summer day. And so we'll probably spend a lot of time doing things like hiking and canoeing right outside our back door. We'll probably do some tenting and setting up the pergola for Madeline's graduation day. And definitely put away the hay bales because I've got 18 hay bales on my front yard. Hay bales, yes. Can that officially define me as a farmer? You have no idea how excited I was with hay bales. Okay, so the Homeschool Mama retreat starts Monday too. So I'm putting on the finishing touches of the retreat. You want to join. This is going to be a fabulously fun way to finish off your homeschool year and get ready for the next year. Okay, so I am going to read from this read aloud, the Homeschool Mama read aloud, the Homeschool Mama Self-Care Nurturing the Nurturer book. And we talked about overwhelm this week, and really there are so many overwhelmingly gigantic numbers of things that we could talk about, right? What's the one thing that you have been most overwhelmed by this year? Put it in the comments down below. So this is what I want to share with you from my book. You've got too much to do, too many children to get uninterrupted attention, too many academic expectations, too many meals to make, too many places to drive, conflict with your spouse, irritation with the piano teacher, prepping for a house move, cleaning up after a new puppy peeing on the carpet, time for a breakdown, right? Or break the list down. Most homeschool families that I know have more than one child. Most, not all. I have met singleton homeschool families too, and they have unique struggles as they engage and occupy their child most of the time, with no occasional playtime with other siblings. Whether you have one or whether you've got 13 or more, and if you do, I want to hear about it, we all have too much to do. An overwhelmed homeschool mama of 5 shared once with me, our house is very loud and it feels like we all fall like dominoes once one kid gets started with another. You feel that? Has that happened to you? She explains she has 2 kids in early elementary school, 2 in kindergarten, and 1 toddling. She adds, the noise doesn't help to create a good atmosphere for good learning. So what tricks do you have for peace when trying to teach so many kids at once? She also says we tend to break things into subjects, but something's just not working. I think we're all frustrated. Even I am snappy most of the time. I'm trying to keep things light, but I'm just so frustrated with myself because I can't seem to find what works for these kids. Maybe it's just the winter homeschool blues, but I can't feel good about dragging my kids through each day of homeschool if their hearts aren't there. Have you been there? I know I have. Hence the book. Oh, haven't we all been there? I've learned there is no simple solution to any problem. Sometimes the issue stays with us a very long time, either fading out as the child develops, growing parental understanding, or sampling numerous one-size-fits-all solutions that are never one-size-fits-all. Still, all of them seem to help a little bit. So consider these suggestions for the kids' routine. You could change the time of day that you do their studies. You could change the location. It could be the bathtub, or it could be outside. You could do a unit study a month. You could create semesters for different topics, just like, school. You could unschool. You could stop schooling. You could teach history and science together, or you could do that separately at different times of the week with each of the kids. You could introduce a new sport every season so there's something new to look forward to. You could book a scheduled weekly field trip somewhere, anywhere. A different museum, a different town, a different coffee shop, maybe just a drive around a different block. Here are some suggestions for you, mama. Lower your expectations. No, lower. Lower. Yeah, lower. Are you expecting every day to be perfect? Yeah, I get it. I know it's my default also to have the perfect homeschool charmed life. My reasonable, rational side knows that homeschooling is not bliss. Some days sure seem close, though. Some days definitely do not. Perfect is not in a parent's vocabulary. Good enough? Yes, those are the goal. Really, who is demanding perfection anyway? We know we're neither Google nor God, and we're not training our kids to be either. In the wise words of Disney, let it go. Let it go, let it go. Loosen the reins. Remember why you're doing what you're doing. You have all the freedom in the world. The people you love the most surround you. Take advantage of that. If you haven't already taken advantage, take a season of unschooling to identify what the kids learn, despite you not teaching, despite the absence of bookwork and academics, despite imperfect teaching, despite the noise, despite disinterest in school subjects, despite conventional methods or rubrics or grading or testing, they learn. One of the biggest hurdles to our peace of mind is learning how to exist together. And I'm pretty sure it always will be a struggle. Not every parent is present for their kids 24 hours a day. Requiring children to learn boundaries is a lifelong training session. Here are some needs and more things to consider as you try to grapple with overwhelm. You need time alone. You need your own thing. You need to value quiet with the kids at times and also separately. You need to learn to recognize your overwhelm triggers, probably the biggest thing you need to learn of all. But can I say that it is super easy as homeschool parents to enmesh with our kids because we're with them all the time. And it doesn't matter if they're little or they're big, they become accustomed to us being right down the hallway. And so they grow up knowing that we're there, we're available, we can talk things through, and that's all good. But the problem for us as homeschool moms is that we don't always recognize that our children's struggles are not actually our struggles. We were meant to help them unravel their struggles, but those struggles aren't really yours. So you're there to give them strategies and give them ideas. Though they are our children, they are not us. But most importantly, we need to recognize our overwhelm triggers. What are the reasons that we're feeling triggered to overwhelm? Write it down. Spend a little time each day journaling, or join me in the Homeschool Mama retreat, because we're going to dig deep into the things that really are the biggest aspects of what we're grappling with next week. And not just overwhelm, but perfectionism and doubt and not good enough feeling and loneliness and the pressure cooker days, how to deal with those, all the things that we might grapple with in our homeschool days. But learn to recognize overwhelm. Take yourself to the mirror when you're feeling especially triggered or overwhelmed. Address yourself like a best friend. Are you okay? You can talk to yourself in the mirror. Yes, it's weird, but no one is there. Well, if you're in the bathroom and you close the door, you probably will have someone with you really fast. But if you don't close that door and you look into that mirror, you can talk to yourself like your own best friend and ask yourself, are you okay? And you can do a self-soothing tactic or technique, which is talking to yourself the same way you talk to your best friend. I'm sorry this is happening to you. Totally frustrating, of course. This is disappointing, or this makes you sad, or whatever the feeling is, or overwhelmed. I'm sorry you're feeling the way you're feeling. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. Your kid's not going to do this forever, probably. Then accept your feeling. Biggest thing you can do is accept that you have an emotional reaction. You're a human being with human feelings, and it's okay sometimes to be super frustrated with your kids. And where to establish boundaries with your kids, sometimes you need to actually recognize that whatever your feelings or your thoughts are probably they require you to address your underlying needs. Maybe there's a boundary issue that you have with your child. Maybe your child is just having a reconfiguring of their prefrontal cortex, or they're an adolescent and they're just doing their thing. Not that I know what that's all about this morning. Some days these lessons need to be learned over and over, both for our kids and also for ourselves, to know how to recognize overwhelm, but also how to address it. Above all, sit with your feelings. Accept your feelings. Acknowledge that it's okay that you're having these feelings. And then get curious. What could I do to address what the challenge is? In the world of overwhelm, there's a lot of different aspects of overwhelm and why we might feel overwhelmed in our homeschool, but there is always a way to address it. If you want to get deep and personal about how you're actually dealing with certain things and how you want to show up in your homeschool, then join me next week in the Homeschool Mama Retreat. Until next time, I hope you and your kids have a charmed weekend. All the best. We'll talk to you soon.